Take it away.
Fucking Mongol. Get here, upward. What's up, guys? DJ Mike James coming at you. This is the new Shehds 40-inch 18x18 watt patchwork interlinkable wall wash beam bar, and I'm going to talk to you about that. What's up, guys? DJ Mike James coming at you. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. Doesn't cost you a thing to do it. Helps me out. As I was saying before, this is the new Shehds Patchwork LED. These are 40-inch wash bars. They are interlinkable. From what I understand, you can interlink 32 of these lights together, DMX them together, and have literally a patchwork wall effect with these lights. Without any further ado though, I am going to get into this, cut this box open, let you guys see what we got coming in here. I got my trusty knife, so watch it, and let's get in here and see what Shehd sent me. Box is a little dusty, it's alright. Never want to go too deep in here. Alright, as we get into it, let me get my knife put away. I'm going to show you guys what exactly we got going on here. So as we look in here, we've got a box of, looks like we got thumb screws, rubber washers, PowerCon, DMX. Looks like we've got a bag of 8 screws, and those I believe are going to be to mount the feet stabilizer for these if you're using these as a wall wash on the ground, or if you're mounting them, because this will be the only way I believe that you'll be able to mount this light. And then it actually comes with a little hardware tool, and we'll get into that here in just a second. So as we get into it, I do like the soft rigid foam. This does not leave the little styrofoam beans on your stuff. We have our instruction manual for the red, green, blue, white, amber plus UV. Again, we have a packing list on here. We'll get into the manual a little bit because these lights, the programming in them is definitely interesting. It's a little different. From what I do understand about these, just pulling this one out of the box, this does have a heat dissipation system. Let me get this box moved out of the way so we can get into this product here. As I pull this light out, a few things you might notice. We do have our menu screen, menu enter up and down. These are the touch screens for the menu, PowerCon in, PowerCon out. Oh, I'm sorry, on this side, DMX in, DMX out. On the other side, actually these run daisy chain, power in, power out, DMX in, DMX out, and that way you're going to link these together. Something you might notice right off the bat is that we've got these little locking mechanisms here, and that is if you wanted to actually build a horizontal or a vertical wall of these fixtures. And I'll kind of drop this in here so you can kind of see what happens is they actually unlock and will lock into the next fixture if you were literally building a wall or building a line of these. And I believe, like I said, you can link 32 of these units together. Let me go ahead and get the feet mounted on this so that I can stand this light up, and then we'll plug it in, start going through the functions and the features of this light, show you how to interlock some of these together. We'll run a couple of them, like I said, put together so that we can see exactly what the functions are in this. And then of course we do have the option to mount these vertically. As I turn this over, you get to see we got an 18x18 true multicolor diode in there, so including UV. We're going to lock these together. Let me get the feet on. So I just want you to see here as we look down here, there is a guide pin, sort of like a dowel, that's going to allow you to line these up. Of course, I have them on a flat surface. Get them lined up together, and then they they give you the tool to reach down in here, get that Allen key lined up in there, and then you give it a nice turn and it locks. And now that is one 80-inch bar all locked together. If we take another look, make sure the panel orientation is the same. That is a key thing in this, because that is going to let us power in from one side, power out from the other side, into the next one, out, in. So really, when you lock these together, you're only going to need about an 8-inch PowerCon jumper and about the same 8-inch DMX in and out to run these daisy chain together. Now, the thing I'm not quite sure about that I'll look into the manual, because there is quite a bit of information here. Keep in mind that these that the DMX channels on these are extensive. I think it has like a 12 channel, 108 channel, and then 120 channel DMX capability in here when you are setting these up. In fact, actually you can see it on here. But as you get into the fixtures, I want you to take a look at this, where I'm showing you the orientation of getting these set up together, and then how you would set them up together if you're building them in a wall this direction, how that actually works with your DMX. If they just link the next one to the next one, how do you link the ones that are below it? So I'll look into that and see what I can figure out for you guys. But the orientation of these panels needs to be the same. And then this is going to give us an 80-inch locked together wash bar. That's going to be, I mean, and you could just keep going. Like I said, you could have 30 of these. If you wanted these on the front of your stage, you know, as far as like your initial lighting, that's going to uplight the front of your, you know, the stage or whatnot, or wall wash, or a wall of light. I mean, this is a super impressive light. I do know I don't have it necessarily hooked up for you guys yet. I do have one of these. I've already kind of gotten into the programming. Another new thing that Shehds has been doing is there's a lock on the menus, and just in case you run across that, it is in the manual that it's just up down to unlock the menu. As I get into this and start figuring out how to DMX them together, I'm going to work on that, get this plugged in, show you guys what these lights are going to do. So I wanted to kind of go over the patchwork interlocking. Like I said, we do have this interlocked. I have this as my master, this is my slave. They tend to lock up a little better this direction, so I went ahead and marked the master and the slave, so we put them back together the same way that they were. I wanted to go over this menu panel with you. It's a little more complicated than what we're normally used to. Shehds has now built in a sort of a locking security system, which I'll go in here and I'm going to show you this. So when you see this little lock right here, kind of looks like a suitcase, that is meaning that the display is locked. So if we touch anything, it's not going to do anything. So the code, kind of like back in the old days when you had the old Nintendos, I don't know if you guys remember the Contra codes and all that. It's just up, down, lock is off. So now we're in our menu mode. This is pretty much how it shows up when you get it. It's going to be in this 12 channel DMX. Of course, we have our temperature control in here, which we have a fan, two fans, one taking air in, one blowing air out on both the units. And they do run, they're not super loud or anything, but helpful to keep this light nice and cool. As we get into our menu, let's see, we can pick our DMX address. 001 to 512. Now we get into our manual. We push enter. Right now it is functioned in DMX. It took a little bit to figure out how to get all this stuff to work. So I'm going to set this in manual, enter. And of course, since the other light is already DMX001 and these are connected together, it's already responding. I went ahead and flipped the lights around so we can actually see the effect on here. If we go into effect, I'm going to push enter. This will change the colors of our shows. So again, it's going to go red. We hit enter. I'm going to go up. It's going to go to 0. And as you can see, that's going to change the effect. Now, The next one, H, even though it seems like it should be, if we go into H and we go up to 0, it's actually going to select our colors as we kind of go up. So we're in red at 6, 8. As we get into 16, we're going to go red. And of course, it's going to go red, green, blue, white, amber, and then UV in that color screen. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that back down. This puts us back in reds to 255, which is all colors. Go ahead and hit enter. Our next one is going to be the speed. So the speed that this is actually operating at, of course, you have to push enter. We can bring this up. And of course, the speed of that auto show, we push enter, it's going to run at full speed. If we go back up here into our colors, this is just randomly going through the shows until we get into the color modes on it. So at 12, we get into red. 20, we've got a different effect pattern going, and this goes up to 25, which I kind of like the 24 and the 25. I'm just going to leave it in the 25 mode. We can chill that for a second, and I'm going to go back into menu here, and I'm also going to show you that now you can go into your statics, and of course everything is already on. Of course, red, green, blue. Now if you set these, it'll stay in a static color. This is just letting me know that I have all the colors turned on. The last function being a strobe function. So if we go into that, it'll actually strobe whatever that pattern is. I'm not going to leave the strobe on because I technically don't do that. The other part in this is our sound. If we click on that, sound is either on or off. So let's hit enter. As you can see, we have sound active mode on, which is still pretty cool. And of course, all of our colors are on. I'm not going to, and our UV, which is actually pretty crazy because this is really bright. Go back in here and turn, no, I can't see. Turn sound active off. Go back into our effect, enter. So when we do push enter, it saves the last effect that we have on. Of course, I have that speed really high. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. This goes up to 255 for the speed of the show. Of course, and you control the parameters of that color and all of those things as well. So if you want to slow this show down, you absolutely can do that. Or hold it down and we can speed it up. Let's just set it at about half, which would be, you know, we'll say $1.25, right? Hit menu to exit out of that. Of course, you have our static modes. As we go up, if we went to this manual, you'll tell you we are in our jump sequence, the show number that we are on, the temperature. Then we do have some other system setups in here. Which function we have is manual. So if you're going to use this with a DMX controller, you want to switch this to DMX. You have the option to change the DMX address. Your channel mode, which it comes factory and 12 channel. But as you enter into that, you have 120 channel, 108 channel, 12 channel. Of course, we're just going to leave it in the 12 channel mode. We have the DMX signal, which is clear. If we go enter, it just says maintain. I'll leave that to clear. We have our dimming. Let's go ahead and look into that. 16-bit, 8-bit. We'll leave it at what it was on. We have our curve, which I kind of don't understand this too well, but if we just kind of pop into it, we're in a linear curve, a square curve, an anti-curve, and that has something to do with how the beam angle, and an S-line, something that has to do with how the beam angle actually runs through this fixture. And if you can see right here, it'll show you the linear square line, anti, and the S line as far as how that beam angle actually works. But I'm just going to leave it in the linear, which is what it's actually in factory, because that's probably how I'm going to use it anyways. I wouldn't really get into this too much. I'm not a lighting engineer, but if you are, I would imagine that is something that you would want to Again, Shehds paired up with me. They sent me 2 of these Patchwork beam bars. We liked them so much that I decided to partner up with the Nathan343, aka DJ Fire. He got them to send him 2 as well, so that we can interlock these things together, show you guys exactly what kind of uplighting you're going to be dealing with here. Now, we are using this as a wall wash today. However, you can, mount these on truss. You can mount them behind a head table, things along those lines. With 4 of them interlocked together, you're getting over 13 foot. And of course, you can do these in sections. As the manual says, we can pair up to 32 of these lights together, which would give you just a massive, I mean, I couldn't even, I'll do the math and we'll put that in and show you what that actual measurement would be in feet if you paired 32 of these lights together. But as you can imagine, it's going to be pretty sick. Take it away, Nathan.
So guys, these lights are pretty cool. They are a little heavy. Compared to the Pix bars that I just did from Both Lighting, they are a few more pounds, I believe. 4 of these hooked together. What do we weigh them at? Less than 47, 48 pounds for 4 of these hooked together.
46, 47 pounds, something like that. We weighed them because that's a concern for us also when we're rolling in and we're setting up events and things along those lines. What it's going to take is physical effort to get stuff up, get it up and running, and get things operational, so that we are mindful of that. Lightweight is king with us because we don't always have the help to do that. But these lights are super sick.
They are hex colored. They are red, green, blue, amber, white, and UV with color mapping, pixelating. So you can kind of make the red and the blue. You can get a pink, a purple. You can get magentas. You can color mix these things together and get practically any color you want. So they're almost like a million color light bar. They do have 2 fans on them. They have an out and an end, as you saw there in the unboxing. They are a little bit noisy, but once you get these things at a venue and you've got some sort of music going or announcements going or someone talking or a band playing, you're not going to hear those. But that fan does suck air in one and blow it out the other. So it is constantly moving air across those fans to keep your LEDs cool, because if they do get hot, they will burn out.
So you got to be mindful of the way that you put the feet on these fixtures. I kind of did mine in the way that I didn't want the adjustment knobs on the DMX and PowerCon side, so I wanted to put them to the inside, and that's super smart, except when you try to lock these together, now you have that adjustment knob in the way of your locking port, where you got to put the Allen key down in there and try to get those to lock together. Again though, the beauty of a fixture like this and being able to interlock them is that you can stack them vertically. You can line them up horizontally, like we have them right now as a wall wash. You can literally build a wall of hex color lights behind you. Of course, the other thing to remember with that is that when the feet are the only way you're going to be able to mount those to like an O clamp or a J clamp or something like that. You're going to have to mount through the feet, because there isn't necessarily, some of the beam bars have like a little hump bracket and you usually mount an O clamp through that, and you don't necessarily have to use the feet to do that. But on this type of fixture, you will need to use the feet. But again, as a wall wash, if you're trying to light a stage, especially, the performance side of that, where you're uplighting your performers from the front, being able to interlock these together, have them spaced out in whatever fashion that you want them in. You lock them all together, whether you're doing them horizontally like we are, vertically. You'll see in some of the display images where DJs and all those lines are building a wall of these things behind them as a crowd blinder, and that would be just a sick proud
These things are
blinders.
sickening bright.
Yes, they're really bright. They are 18 by 18 watts. We'll get the lights off here in just a second. Shoot some B-roll. Again, if we get into some of the features on this, when you get into the program side of it, it does get a little bit complicated as far as like how they have the programming set up, as opposed to like some of the other fixtures where you can just set, you know, a color snap, a jump, a fade, things along those lines. It will be in a jump mode, but then there's 3 different, you know, programs in there. One of them, you've got like 25 different shows, and then you've got the hue, and then you've got the speed of that show and or the strobe of that show. And so that does give you a lot of adjustability. It gives you a lot of being able to detail, you know, an auto show to what you want it to be at, as well as sound active and things along those lines as well. But it's a, you know, I wouldn't say it's super complicated, but it does take a little bit, you know, when you're learning these lights to get them up and running and figure out what it is that you want them to do for you. It is a super impressive light. I know I say that a lot sometimes, but this is a massive unit. I imagine if you put 32 of these things together, either end to end or horizontal or however you wanted to do it, you would have a very impressive wall of light, and it would be fantastic. So again, if you're gonna uplight the front of your stage, you can set these in static colors, even white, UV, whatever that is, with an 18 by 18 hex diode. In these, they're really fantastic. So
Mike, you got anything to add?
super impressive light. Thanks to our friends at Shehds. Like I said, make any stage a big stage.
Big stage.
Theater, I'm telling you, man, these are performer lights. I don't know if you remember how they have the theater lights for your performers out in front. This will light up an entire stage. Super powerful, super bright. You can dim these lights too, which we had not mentioned yet. Again, interlocking. You can build a wall of lights. You can build. I mean, the beauty of them is that they will interlock together, and as you DMX them together, it acts as one light. It's not just 4 fixtures that are kind of intermittently running on their own. You're getting one giant 13-foot wall wash. I mean, it's super impressive. Again, the links will be in the descriptions. Like I said, if you're watching this on his channel, check out my channel. If you're watching this on my channel, check out his channel. Help support the channel. Like, comment, subscribe.
We'll catch you on the next one.
Catch you on the next one.